Welcome back to She Talks Money, where we explore what it really means to build wealth, success, and a life that feels good in your body. Today's guest is someone whose work completely reframes how we think about strength, health, and performance. Morgan Raynor, the founder of Body Articulate. Morgan doesn't just teach fitness. She teaches how to speak the language of your body. Her unique methodology blends mobility, ground-based flow, and strength training with an artistic, intuitive approach to movement that helps people feel confident, agile, and in control of their physical experience, no matter their background. So if you've ever felt stiff, disconnected from your body, I've been there, or stuck in the same workouts without real progress, this episode is going to shift your mindset. Morgan's approach is about reclaiming your strength from the inside out and building a relationship with your body that goes beyond reps and routines. Let's get into it. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's a great intro.
Thank you. I'm so excited for this conversation. I say this over and over again, but I just learned so much from every one of my guests. And of course, I'm interviewing people about things that I'm passionate about, that I love this. And I know everybody's going to learn so much from you today. So let's start with your journey and your story. You have such a rich background in dance and performance. Can you walk us through kind of your journey from artist to movement coach to founder of Body Articulate?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. So yeah, my background is dance. Dance was my first love ever. And, it was my first identity, really. I practically lived in the studio. I adored my dance training, my dance sisters, and some brothers and my dance instructors. But it really was my first love, and it really gave me a sense of direction in life. And although I am a talented mover and performer, I also have always had a natural way of analyzing and looking and understanding movement. So I always knew that on top of my dance career, performance career, choreographic career, I kind of knew in the back of my head that I wanted to be a rehearsal director as well. I wanted to coach dancers on how to better perform, or how to better, put out the message that was being presented to the audience. So yeah, I found a passion really early on and a talent for analyzing movement and just understanding it really well. I went to the SUNY Purchase Conservatory of Dance and graduated in 2013 with a BFA in dance performance and composition. And I got I immediately moved into New York City. I was just upstate in New York, and then I moved directly into the city and started performing right away. Amazing. And my side jobs were always related to fitness. So on top of being, a performer, I was naturally just athletic in general. So even at SUNY Purchase, I was on the swim team. So I swam for them and became good friends with all of the athletes as well. When I graduated, my side gigs, because dancing doesn't always pay the rent,
right?
My side gigs were always in fitness. So I worked at boutique fitness studios like SoulCycle and the Bar Method. And then I wanted to get back into swimming again. And I also wanted to get more into something that helped me take people from one place to another with their movement or athletics. So I didn't want to just walk into a class every day and train the same thing and just keep doing the same movements over and over again. I wanted to set goals with a team of people or with an individual and then take them to the next level. So that's when I started getting into coaching swimming. So I was able to do that with my team of swimmers. We set individual goals, we set team goals. I taught them how to be athletes, not just in swimming, but how to take these principles of discipline and goal setting and commitment to their lives outside of the pool as well. And then I just fell in love with that. So then, I became a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I competed in triathlons and I had, at this point, a lot of friends in the fitness world. And so one of my friends convinced me to become a trainer. She was like, you should work one-on-one with people and help them, get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to try it out, and I just immediately fell in love with the one-on-one model personal training, because it was exactly what I wanted, taking someone from point A to point B, setting those goals and making them happen. And then I had that talent for analyzing movement and seeing what was actually going on in their bodies and really guiding them how to get from that point A to that point B.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, personal training just became a passion of mine. And I really quickly realized that most of the time it's not the discipline or the lack of strength or even lack of knowledge that holds people back. It's the lack of body awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing a squat and you have my eyes on you and I'm telling you your knees are caving in, or, I can see that you're not controlling the weight very well. And you might like feel something totally different, but then we go to correct it. And then you're able to get that stronger squat. So it's just the lack of body awareness that I really saw that was like a common denominator between most of my clients.
And I can be a testament to exactly what you just said, because I mean, I've been working out I had back surgery when I was very young, 14 years old. I've been working out consistently for over 30 years, worked out with a lot of personal trainers. And the most recent was the one that actually, like, he'd take a video of me squatting like from behind in different angles. And it was insane to me. Like, one area I thought I was struggling with, and he was just like, it's my back or this or not. He's like, no, it's your ankles. It's your ankle mobility. And look at how your knee caves in. And this is what we do to fix that and make you stronger. And nobody had done that up until that point. I didn't even realize I was moving that way. And then like the tiniest little tweak, like conscious awareness of do this, or like, do your squat and like pigeon your feet out kind of, think about doing
right.
That tiny little thing like completely changed my squat. It was amazing. So I'm a testament to, and I think it's a gift what you offer people, because personal training and just working out in general and mobility go so hand in hand, and you're really limiting yourself from, in my opinion, building muscle and doing that type of thing if you're not also looking at the mobility piece of it. And it took me a lot of years to come to that realization and finally say, fine, I'm going to stretch and do mobility work too, because I just like to lift weights, right? And he was like, no, we're going to do this other stuff too. And that then impacted my strength and how much I could lift.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So
exactly. Yes. It's one of my favorite things to help clients understand is, and it's so simple. Okay. One of my favorite things to help clients understand is that a squat is a knee dominant movement.
Mm-hmm.
A deadlift is a hip dominant movement.
Mm-hmm.
If you're squatting, your knees are going to bend a lot. The goal is to get the hips to the ground by bending your knees. And yes, a lot of ankle mobility goes into that as well. Mm-hmm. But just shifting that mentality, because I think a lot of people, when they learned how to strength train, were taught to keep their knees behind their toes when they squat. Mm-hmm. And that's just 100% false.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not wrong to pass your toes with your knees. It's also not wrong to keep your knees behind your toes. If you are a competitive power lifter and lifting 500 pounds and doing a squat that's just to parallel,
mm-hmm.
but the average person is not a power lifter and not competing to try to lift 500 pounds. You're just trying to get to the floor to pick up the Cheerios that your child dropped on the ground.
Yes.
And there are a lot of them, and you are on the ground in this like duck walk squatty position. You know what I mean? Of course your knees are going to go over your toes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other piece of it too, is like bringing body awareness and the application of that body awareness and what we do in the gym to your everyday life. Okay. So I call that the translation of movement. So when we talk about body articulate, it's the learning and the understanding of the language of movement and then translating that to your everyday life. Mm-hmm. Are you an ultra marathoner? I train a lot of ultra marathoners. Like, how does that translate to your runs? Are you a parent? Are you caring for your parents? Like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the premise behind Body Articulate.
That's perfect. You just literally answered what my next question then was about the name and, like you said, that body communication and how does that translate into real life and what we're doing and how it helps us. I know I've had this conversation with a lot of, especially women that I work with. So many women are stuck in the mindset of punishing workouts or rigid routines. So how do you approach strength and fitness differently? And what role does that mobility and flow play in building long-term strength?
So, okay. So the rigid schedule and mentality, no pain, no gain, no days off kind of thing is understandable. Like, because we've all been brought up in the world that tells us that we need to hustle as hard as we possibly can if we want to get anywhere in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to lose weight, you can never eat sugar again. Like, you know what I mean? Just so black and white. And it's just not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not realistic. So the way that I coach and teach that is honestly with trust and results. So when I preach this to my clients, I'm like, listen, do you need to go out and run 5 miles every morning? Like, is that, or could you maybe use that time to get a little more sleep and then go through a mobility routine in the morning, and then you're able to hit your strength work harder later in the day. So it's like this give and take. It's like, okay, can you wake up at 4:30 in the morning and run 5 miles sometimes? Like, yeah, absolutely, if that's what you want to do. But if we're also trying to reduce stress, let's say, then maybe an extra 30 minutes, 45 minutes of sleep is going to do you much better than hitting the pavement and putting those miles on your body. And it could happen it could be the opposite as well. It could be like, well, I have this really, really, really rigid work schedule and I have to be at work at 6 a.m. and I have to do this and I have to do that. I have to answer every single email before I go to bed. Well, what if we incorporate a break somewhere in there to get some movement so that when you go back to your work, you are more refreshed and able to get through those emails so much quicker. You know what I mean? So it's that give and take. It's the trust, the planning, and then it's the execution and the results.
Yes.
Most of the time when I'm coaching people to get healthier, I do focus on weight loss. I can do that. But most of the time people are coming to me because they're stressed, because they are stuck and they just hate their routine. They need a new routine, a new plan. They are parents and are just so busy. And it's really just the give and take. And then when you are feeling better, you're going to be able to tackle the rest of your day or the rest of your responsibilities with much more ease. So it's about, how you feel more than anything else. And that's kind of how I approach it and coach it. It's like, well, once you're feeling better, then you're just going to want more and more. The mobility training combined with the strength training it does just that. Like it's going to go hand in hand with feeling better, but specifically in the gym when we're lifting and we combine that with mobility training, we are aiming to get into deeper ranges of motion. This is going to help strengthen the muscle at its most lengthened phase and its most shortened phase. Like I was talking about earlier, if you are a power lifter and trying to compete and lift 500 pounds under the bar, you're only going to a certain depth, right? You're training for strength, not necessarily for your joint health or your longevity. I mean, it's a sport, right? Any sport, you're going to be just kind of beating the body up, right? If we're training for our life, for our longevity and for our joint health, then we're going to focus more on the range of motion than getting under 500 pounds. The weight on the bar doesn't matter, but can you control the weight as low as you possibly can, ass to grass, as we say, as low as you can possibly go, and then come back up? That is really combining joint health with strength.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to coach. And you need that body awareness to pause at the bottom of that squat
Mm-hmm.
and come back out of it. Know where your body is in space and what your intention is for that movement as well. Intention, ranges of motion, tempo, pausing at that bottom of the squat.
Mm-hmm.
Really how we achieve all of that. And it applies to every movement, not just squats.
Right.
Right.
And to your point, it is such a trust game because I've been
Yes.
there. It's like a mindset, right? Because it's yeah. I remember when I started to transition to that, and it is like my mind would just be like, no, just push up. You have to do heavier weight, and trying to talk me out of it the whole way down, thinking I don't like squatting slow and I don't like pausing at the bottom
Yes.
because it's hard, right? It's
Because it's
difficult
hard.
to do, but and also like I love that you talk about, just when I remember, put it this way, I remember going to my chiropractor with my back out so bad, like he had to help me out of my car. I couldn't even walk into the clinic. And he
Yeah.
looked at me after that session. He's like, "Are we going to start stretching and doing mobility now?" And and this is years of him telling me this. And I'm like, "Yes, okay." And so I had to switch from waking up, running a lot, or working out immediately to no, I'm going to practice my stretching and mobility first. And I still
Yeah.
do that to this day. And
Love
the
it.
other piece that's made a really big difference in my life is, to your point, taking breaks. So I'm, at a desk a lot all day long working. And so I'll set my timer on my phone and making sure I get up every hour to go grab water, which is a great discipline because you should be drinking a lot of water too, right? I'll go take a little walk, grab some water, do whatever, move a little bit. And I feel so much better after 6, 8 hours of work than I ever did before, where I would sit for hours on end without even standing up. And then when you go to stand up at my age, you're like, oh, I can't even move anymore. So it's so
Yeah.
important.
Seriously. I know we talk a lot about like, okay, you have to like rest, you have to recover, but I like whenever I have like off days or recovery days, I'm still moving. Like I am still going through my joint mobilizations and my CARs, controlled articular rotations, and I'm still just checking in with my body
Mm-hmm.
because if I don't move throughout the day, then I just get very moody. I'm just not myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that also ties in with like, I feel like a lot of us are so overstimulated
Mm-hmm.
that, movement is a good excuse to get away from the overstimulation if you can. I mean, if you are watching your child and you
Right.
can, you could, depending on how old they are, or, what stage of life they're in, you could just do some movement with them right there with you. They could move with you too. Even just a dance party with your kid,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But
Yep.
just bringing in those breaks can like really break up that overstimulation
Mm-hmm.
that we see a lot of. And so like, yeah, even if you're recovering, if it's a recovery day, still just trying to get in some sort of movement is going to just help your mental health more than anything. And so that's, just
I'm
another.
curious, how do you feel about walking? Because I see that like there's this new, I don't, is it a
Oh
fad? I
yeah.
don't know, but this new like we're walking with weight vests.
Yes.
Like, how do you feel about walking in
Listen,
general or on rest days? Like,
listen, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, okay? In the foothills of South Mountain. There are trails all around me.
mm-hmm.
If I feel overstimulated, I'm going to go out and walk. We have a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I walk the dog a
Mm-hmm.
few miles every day. Like it's absolutely gorgeous to just walk around here and to be in nature, and it's so easy. But you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to live in the foothills of a mountain to go out and walk. I think
Right.
walking is absolutely acceptable and great for your body. I
Okay.
think it's great for your body. I think walking with a weighted vest, I know it's like all the rage, and I'm not gonna shit on it. Like if that works for
Yeah.
you, like of course do that. Should it replace weight training? No.
Right.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like I think if you are taking your health seriously to the point of you're gonna purposely like put on a weight vest and walk outside, then
Mm-hmm.
you're winning.
Yeah.
Then you're winning. That's great. I love that. And what I try to do in my business as well is when my clients start to see these results of like, oh, I feel so much better, it opens the door for them for so many other different types of movement. So
Mm-hmm.
if walking with a weight vest opens the door for you and you start thinking about like, you know what, maybe I want to do pickleball. Maybe I want to take my weight vest and go on a hike, instead of just walking around the neighborhood, I'm going to go on a 4 mile hike. This trail I heard was like really great. I want to start adding jogging into my runs. Like you start to feel really good just being outside and walking, and then you start jogging. Or, ooh, I'm starting to feel my ankles from so much walking. Maybe I should look into mobility for my ankles, knees, and hips so that I stop feeling that and I can continue walking. So if that opens the door for you for other things, it's like the gateway drug to strength training.
Right. Oh, well, I love that. And that's actually kind of part of my next question was like, you work with people of all kinds of movement backgrounds, right? So for someone who's feeling like disconnected or like unathletic, where do they even begin, or what's your advice to kind of start to scratch the surface a little bit if they're coming from either no experience or burnout or injury?
Okay, so couple things. So number one, low intensity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's that book? Atomic Habits.
Yes.
Wait, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Start small. Just start small. If it's walking, if it's jogging, if it's strength training, if it's mobility training, start at a low intensity. Like there's no need to go from 0 to 100. Like absolutely no need. It reminds me of when I had my daughter in 2022 and before I was cleared to start lifting again. I was like, my body was craving some sort of movement. And again, I'm a professional mover, so I felt safe to, really tune in and listen to my body and make sure I wasn't like pushing too much. But I would do some light stretches, some light movements, some mobility work, some like easy body weight squats and dips on the chair, like very simple, no external loads or anything, but it was very low intensity and just really helped me get back into like, okay, when I get back to lifting, like I want to like get back to that one arm push-up that I was doing. Like I'm feeling that. Like I haven't done that since before I was pregnant. Like I'm going to get back into that. So yeah, starting at low intensity, just like the weighted vest, again, that's also like a lower intensity workout. It opens the door,
Yeah.
I think if you are getting back into movement, having a plan is really helpful because especially if you're starting out at that low intensity, you're going to be able to see how the plan is progressing. So if you feel like, oh, I should be doing more, or I should be faster by now, or I should be stronger by now, just look at your plan for the next 6 months and see like, okay, but by month 3, I'm going to be doing these deadlifts. I'm going to be doing these deadlifts at 90% of my max for 3 sets of as many reps as possible or something like that, right? And so that's going to be a really, really heavy load, and you're going to see like the progress from your deadlift that you're doing today all the way to that. And it also brings some accountability to your practice. So it kind of makes you feel safe and you're allowed to hang out in that low intensity and slowly work your way up. It's going to bring you accountability. It's like, okay, on Mondays I show up and it's upper body day, and that's just how it is. And if I miss it, then I do it on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, what if you miss it? What if you're too busy? What if your kid gets sick? Okay, then we have a contingency plan. Like, okay, then I'm going to do it on Tuesday, or I'm going to do it after my child goes to sleep. Like, you know what I mean? And the other thing that goes with that is being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In many ways, like I'm uncomfortable with pausing at the bottom of my squat, but that's going to make me stronger. I'm uncomfortable with waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but if that's the only time I have to get my workout in, okay, I'm going to really focus on my sleep hygiene, making sure I go to bed early enough so that I can wake up and do that workout in the morning. And then again, what if you miss it? What if you get sick or something like that? What is the plan for that? But just being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. If you're not uncomfortable, right, you might not be pushing yourself.
Exactly.
Say that.
Exactly.
If you're not doing something that's making you a little uncomfortable, you might need to try a little bit harder. So how does physical strength, do you think, connect to emotional resilience and confidence? And how have you noticed this in your clients as they begin moving differently?
Okay. So there's so many different ways. In addition to establishing a way of communicating and connecting through movement, communicating with yourself, communicating with those around you, right? Like my sense of communication and connection through movement started with dance, with performing, but I coach that through other ways, through strength and mobility training. In addition to that, I like to connect on a personal level as well. So my clients, like I help them through, I tend to train my clients for long periods of time. We are training for sustained, healthy habits throughout their life and through transitions of life. I've had clients that get diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, that are, have lifelong eating disorders, that a lot of older women that have osteoporosis, people that deal with loss, people that get married. Like I train some people before they even met their husbands, and then they go on and get married and have babies. And I train them through all of that stuff. So just those connections are just like everything. And we train through those transitions of life. But I just want to read this one text to you. So I got this text from a client last week, and we've been training since the springtime. Okay. I think really kind of captures what this strength and mobility training can do for you in your personal life outside of the gym. Okay, so I'm gonna read this text. She said, "I'm not sure if I told you this, but my mom has Parkinson's and she falls fairly often. She fell yesterday and I had to go pick her up off the floor. I'm just so incredibly grateful that I can do that. I definitely feel more confident in my body to do that big lift since I started working with you, and just wanted to let you know I appreciate you."
Oh,
so that really just kind of like, just, wraps it all up.
I could cry. It's changing, right? I mean, you're making such a huge impact in people's lives. That's amazing.
Like, are you going to, if your mom falls and you need to go pick her up, like, are you going to approach that lift like a barbell deadlift? Are you going to go and be like, okay, let me set this up? No, you are going to get to the floor and pick your mom up however you can, in whatever way that's going to make her feel more comfortable. And you are not worrying about your form at all. You know what I mean? Does your body have the resiliency to be able to do that so that you can take care of the people that you love?
Yeah.
So that's the most important part to me.
I think there's also, I'm speaking from experience, but I always tell people, I've said this before, like working out to me is like the physical benefits of it is like the side benefit. To me, it's like my therapy, right? That morning hour in the gym is like, I'm just getting rid of the ick. I like dance in between my sets, and it just makes me happy. And it's like Jen solo therapy session during my workout. And I've seen that through people I've encouraged to start working out, or friends that I've seen go through this journey. And it's just like, they're so much stronger physically, but also like their mental health has seen such an improvement as well. And I'm guessing you see that in clients too.
I think you feel more comfortable in your body. Like you are just, you're just more accepting of yourself when you go through training. I like to always tell my clients that there are no wrong movements. I'm never going to tell you that what you're doing is incorrect or wrong. I'm never going to stop you and just be like, no, that wasn't it. Because it's never wrong. If your body is doing a movement, it's not wrong.
Right.
It might not be as efficient as another way, but everybody moves differently. Just like everyone talks a little bit differently. Again, we're talking about the language of movement. Everyone moves a little bit differently. Everyone is structured a little bit differently. A deadlift stance for me could be completely different from your most efficient deadlift stance, right? I like to train my clients, especially my older clients, to get down to the floor and back up again. Like I could take all of them through like a Turkish getup, and this is how you do the Turkish getup, and we're gonna lift a heavy kettlebell. We're gonna get up off the floor with the kettlebell. Like, okay, I could do that, and I do love training the Turkish getup, which also has its own artistic element to it, because everyone does it differently. But what's more important is getting yourself to the floor and getting back up again. Sometimes with an external load, especially if we're training for you having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But can you do that in a bunch of different ways? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong. I don't care. Like as long as you do it safely, it's also going to teach you how to fall,
Yeah.
which is really, really important. Can you fall without getting injured?
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you have osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and especially if you live alone, you know. So
Yeah.
it's a big focal point of my training is that there's no wrong movement. I want you to feel comfortable in moving. I want you to have fun moving. And I want you to like learn while you move,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Love that. So you also talk about, and we touched on this maybe a little bit, but you talk about conversational movement. Are there daily practices or movement like check-ins that help people stay tuned into their body?
Yes. So I like to teach a very like regimented daily check-in, which is the daily cars that from
Mm-hmm.
um, FRC, functional range conditioning. It's a certification that I have for mobility training. It's not the only mobility cert, but I use daily cars, controlled articular rotations, to go through each joint. But even without learning cars,
Mm-hmm.
I like really quickly can help a person feel more in tune with their body by telling them to spend more time on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're watching TV, hang out on the floor. When you're reading a book, lay down on like even a yoga mat, like get a yoga mat out or lay on your carpet and read your book. Spend more time on the floor, no matter what you're doing. Take off your shoes when you get home
Mm-hmm.
and spend as much time as you possibly can barefoot. Right, that's going to help you just connect to the ground. Our feet are our base and our sense of communication with the ground. So we really want to prioritize barefoot movement. If you can train barefoot, I always recommend training barefoot as well.
Okay.
If it's possible, socks or even barefoot shoes like Vivo Barefoot,
Mm-hmm.
just so that we can widen the foot as much as possible, spread out the toes, which is really going to just widen your base.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of foot, toe, ankle issues arise from the fact that all of our shoes, for the most part, have heels, some sort of heel lift.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our shoes get narrower at the toes and have a lot of cushion. So it just raises us off the ground and the heels more than the toes. It brings the toes in together. And our feet are actually wider at the toe than at the heel.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to just spread that out into the floor as much as possible, as often as possible. You know, I'm not saying like get barefoot shoes and only wear those ever again. Of course not. You know, we want, just like there are no wrong movements, there's no wrong shoes. You know, if you like the shoes, like wear them. But we want to have the opposite of that too, if you can, to just, you know, hang out at home barefoot, if you can train barefoot. And then to really emphasize that mobility, I love to emphasize that pause at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of the squat, at
Yeah.
the bottom of the deadlift, at the top of an overhead press, just to pause to really use those muscles in their full lengthened and shortened position.
Okay.
So yeah, barefoot, get on the floor, and you know, take a second in your movement to just feel your body.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk about longevity. How do you help women build strength that lasts? And what's your perspective on like performance versus sustainability as we age?
Okay, so strength that lasts. We're fighting against time, unfortunately. So as we get older, after the age of 30, we rapidly start decreasing muscle mass. So it's, although you can, of course, you can get stronger, you can lift heavier weights as you go. It's more about the execution than the actual weight that you're lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of like making all of that last, I do program about 4 to 12 weeks of like very structured, like the same or similar movements for that long period of time, but then switching it up.
Okay.
So we want a well-rounded, strong body. And if you just are always doing barbell overhead press, then yeah, you're going to get really good at barbell overhead press. But what about doing a dumbbell press in a straddle position? right? So just changing that up is going to, even though it's the same movement pattern, it's just going to increase the longevity and the durability of your shoulder muscles and joints. So going with that plan and then changing it up in not even like crazy ways is going to help build that longevity over time.
Okay, that's amazing. So quick rapid fire to finish this out.
Okay.
Can you share your top 3 movement tips for women who want to feel stronger, more mobile, and more present in their bodies?
Okay, 3 tips. Okay, film yourself. We talked about this a little bit before, but film yourself and watch it. You have to watch it and analyze it afterwards. Film yourself, make a mess. So don't be afraid to make a mess. When you're learning new skills like strength and mobility, it's not going to be perfect at first. Just accept that, make a mess, and then you can clean it up afterwards. Like I said, no wrong movements. And change the intention of your movements every time you do it. So if I'm doing a deadlift, I'm thinking about on the first set, pushing my feet into the floor to lift the weight. On the second set, I'm really thinking of gripping and crushing that barbell, right? Things like that, changing up the intention.
Amazing. And you offer, even though you're not necessarily where everybody listening to this is located, you offer virtual training programs, right? So to my listeners in the audience, I get asked a lot about routine. And honestly, like so many of you, I'm crazy busy. I don't want to think about my workout necessarily. I just want to have it written for me, show up, do it, be present, but do it, and then move on with my day. And Morgan offers that solution, right? So where is the best place people can connect with you and find you?
Okay, so you can find me at bodyarticulate.com. That's the best way to get in contact with me and learn a little bit more about my business. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Body Articulate. So YouTube, I've been posting more long form videos of movement breakdowns of mobility sequences for strength training, like a squat sequence, a deadlift sequence, a movement prep for upper body work, how to combine strength and mobility training. I do virtual personal training, and I do the virtual hybrid personal training with programming, and I do just individual programming as well. So I do it very individualized as of right now. So we have meetings, and it can be on your schedule. So, you know, I do programming, but sometimes meet with a client once a week. Sometimes we meet once a month. Sometimes just communicate over email or text. You know, the communication is up to you, and we really just cater it towards your needs. And of course, work for that translation between the gym and life. And I'm working on, hopefully by the end of the year, having just set programs that you can purchase and pick up and try on your own. So that's in the works, hopefully by the end of the year.
Well, I know I'm going to be in touch because I could probably work on my mobility in a, like a trainer sense, not just Jen trying to figure it out on her own. Morgan, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance, your grace, and your philosophy of strength with us today. I feel like I just took a masterclass on how to move, breathe, live more fully in my body. So for anyone listening who wants to connect with Morgan, explore her coaching, or experience Body Articulate, you heard her, connect on bodyarticulate.com or follow her on Instagram at Body Articulate. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, subscribe to She Talks Money, and leave a review. Your words help us keep these conversations going and growing. Until next time, go move, go listen, and go trust the wisdom in your body.